Hey, Slumpbusters, welcome in. It's time for episode 97 of the Slumpbuster podcast. I'm your host, Ju-Ju Talk Sports. And joining me on today's episode, two outstanding, wonderful ladies, the founders of the Ballpark Vibes baseball blog, Pam Wilinski and Megan Ellis. On today's episode, we break down the first half of the Major League Baseball season, we talk the All-Star break, and we talk some early MVP favorites. But folks, it doesn't stop there. Megan Ellis actually gave us a fantastic deal on some outstanding merchandise from her own personal blog, the Home Sweet Ballpark collection. So go ahead and check out homesweetballpark.com for an outstanding variety of t-shirts, lanyards, and other items to show your baseball fanhood. And go ahead and use promo code SLUMP. Don't be a chump. Use promo code SLUMP. Thank you so much, Megan, for setting that up. You already know I have my Beers, Bombs, and Ballpark shirt in the mail heading my way. But before we move on, folks, it is time to give a shout out to our partners. Caveman Coffee Co. Caveman is a fantastic single source, single origin goodness from a company with impeccable taste and ethics. The people behind it are beautiful souls, and the coffee is delicious fuel for the never-ending quest to do better, be better, love harder, and enjoy deeper. Guys, I tell you, their Nitro Cold Brew is the perfect blend of energy and refreshment in the morning. Great way to start the day. But why stop there? They have their Mammoth blends, which I highly encourage you getting. They have their hibiscus teas, which are delicious. And guys, if you use our promo code SLUMP, you get 15% off your next purchase of any of these fantastic products. cavemancoffeeco.com, promo code SLUMP. Guys, don't be a chump. Use promo code SLUMP and get yourself a case today. All right, guys, episode 97, Pam Wilinski, Megan Ellis, Ballpark Vibes, Ju-Ju Talk Sports. Let's get it. Let's bust the slump and let's enjoy. Welcome back, Slumpbusters. It is time for episode 97 of the Slumpbuster podcast. Join me on today's episode, return guest, Pam Wilinski, Megan Ellis, Ballpark Vibes. We haven't had these ladies on in a while. The last time we did was beginning of what turned out to be a COVID-shortened season. Good news this time around, we actually have some baseball to talk about. So starting first off, Megan, how's your day going?
Great. I just woke up and I'm drinking coffee. So great.
Starting the day off on the right note. And what about you, Pam? I mean, we just joked around in here in the pre-show, but with your Cubs not doing so well, how are you doing today?
Well, the Cubs game got postponed because it's raining here in Chicago. So I think that might give them some time off that they need to kind of recoup and get their heads straight and get ready for the series.
It's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride for them this year because, I mean, they started off really well, leading the NL Central for a good part of the season. And then, as we mentioned, 10 straight losses. This brings me into the first topic of the day. Will the Cubs be buyers or sellers at the MLB trade deadline?
Honestly, I don't know. I've been seeing things saying that they might be sellers. My mom has been sending me stuff that like Rizzo might be in a Boston jersey by the end of the year, which would kind of hurt me. But if, because it's Rizzo, like he's so classic Chicago. It's hard to kind of picture him being anywhere but here. But it is, I think the office and, ownership will do what they need to do to kind of get them back on the right track to be back in the wins.
What about like pieces like Javier Baez and Kris Bryant as well? Could we see them on the move? I mean, Rizzo's kind of a big name to stand out, but basically your whole infield is potentially on the trade block.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk around Bryant for a while now, and as great as he is, I think it wouldn't hurt if he goes someplace else, especially with his his experience and his tenure in Chicago. I think him going someplace else will kind of give some of the battery guys a chance to kind of step up and show what they can do as well. And kind of same thing with Javi. Like Javi is, I think he'll be the one that gets missed the most, just because he's so electric and he's so fun to watch.
Now, Pam's team is expected to be a seller at the deadline, but Megan, as that NL West turns out to be a wild situation, the Padres, the Giants, the Dodgers all going back and forth on it. We got a little head-to-head going on here. What can you expect from the Padres at the MLB trade deadline? And what are some needs they have?
I can expect a lot of anxiety for myself personally. Let's start off with that. because I am one of those that gets attached to players. So I think we'll end up being buyers for the most part. I know we need starting pitching desperately. It's been really tough to see this, especially with Snell having been out with his stomach issues, and called up a guy from AA this week who I actually can be friends with. But yeah, the fact that we're reaching down into AA to pull up people for spot starts. Also, our outfield. I mean, love Grisham. He's doing great. Meyer's great. Bam, he's a hit or miss. Profar, I'm not very hot on Profar anymore right now. And Mateo, this is not going to sound nice, but you can send him to the sun. That's pretty much what I'm on for that. So I'm thinking Mateo's might be on the chopping block and might be used as a trade piece to buy, but really think that Preller is going to do well and go for it, because it seems like this is our year that we're full speed for this championship. So especially since we're only, I think, 4 games out of first right now, which at this point we're never that. That's honestly kind of incredible to think of.
It's honestly incredible to think how the NL West has been this entire season. Obviously, as a Giants fan, my expectations were, I thought the team was going to be competitive, but I certainly didn't expect them to be the best team in baseball at the All-Star break. So humble brag right there. But
I just want to point out, we've played at least 3 more games than you guys. So just saying.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. It will even out. We'll get 162 in at the end of the year. And, at that point, we will still be leading the NL West. Bold take. Bold prediction. All right. Well, let's move this into a more general trade deadline discussion. I'll throw out some names that will be potentially on the chopping block this year. So we got Max Scherzer, the biggest starting pitcher on the market. Nelson Cruz, Joey Gallo, who will be competing in the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby.
Meg's boy.
Joey Gallo.
It's the ball a mile, but we'll be doing it for another team post-July. Trevor Story, also competing in the All-Star game.
Ooh.
Starling Marte is one of those great rental options in the outfield. And then also All-Star game starters, Eduardo Escobar and Adam Frazier, also getting talked about as well. All right, then let's shift on over then to Megan. Out of those names I listed, what are potentially some jersey swaps we can expect?
For sure, Gallo to the Padres. That one I am sold on. I've been sold on like 2 years now. So I'm calling this one. Gallo to the Padres. Have no idea who we're going to give up for him. Maybe even see Campusano go, potentially. Also, just because I feel like Padres aren't as hot on Campusano as they were before when they saved him last offseason. I've been hearing about Trevor's story too. So I'm like, he's definitely not going to be in a Rockies uniform anymore, especially with the fact that Arenado's gone. Surprised that Charlie Blackmon's still there too, but we'll see about that coming into the offseason. But for sure, those two, Nelson Cruz, I heard about as well, but I don't know who is looking into him. So I know the names that are like, oop, you're not going to be in that uniform anymore, but I haven't seen who the potential buyers are, is the thing either. Because again, I've been wrapped up in minor league baseball now for AA Central.
Hey, it's important. We got to know some of those prospects, because obviously prospects are a big part of any trade deadline discussion. It's hard. Obviously, as a Giants fan, I'm trying to evaluate. Yes, it would be nice for them to go all in, make a big play, get someone like you mentioned, a Gallo, to just break your heart there. But there comes that added cost of, well, we got to move on from some top prospects to do it. And being all in on one season is a scary situation for most teams. Like, do you get a rental piece like a Starling Marte? Yes, Starling Marte, great speed, runs the outfield well, and has a little bit of pop. But for 2 months of him, would I be willing to give up Heliot Ramos? I have to decline on that one. Joey Gallo is great because at least you have another year of team control with him beyond this season. Max Scherzer, obviously you're getting a Hall of Famer there, but again, is he worth just a couple months? That's kind of like where you have to kind of like pause and pump the brakes a little bit. A very likely option. I could see Max Scherzer, and as much as it pains me to see it, I could see him in a Dodgers uniform by the end of July. I think given the added situation with the Trevor Bauer stuff, and the Dodgers were kind of looking for starting pitching anyway, I could see them making a big splash and going after Max. And that, of course, just makes a already scary roster scarier as we kind of move into that last couple months stretch there. Speaking of Max Scherzer, speaking of all-star starting pitching, this season has been marred by, of course, the sticky stuff situation. Spider tagged. Was the MLB in the right? Was the MLB in the wrong? You have Tyler Glasnow come out, says, I got injured because of this rule. I was gripping the ball a little tighter. And then you have some people that actually have been in MLB corner as well. You guys want us to respond. You want us to react. Well, here's the rule. Here's what we did about it. And since they've made that rule, there has been a uptick in hitting. Pitching has kind of evened out a little bit. So where do you ladies stand on this? Was the MLB in the right on the sticky stuff situation, and did they get it right?
So I'd say that they're in the right because it is part of the rules, but the fact that they did it in the middle of a season is where they went wrong. They should have said, hey, just a heads up, starting the end of the season, we're going to crack down on this and like no more, or even post All-Star break. This way, at least it gave a timeline, but the fact they're like, nope, next week we're starting this. I think they should have said, hey, just a heads up, you need to start fixing something because starting 2022 season, we're going to be cracking down on this and it's not going to be a thing anymore. Or the alternate is they can say, hey, here's the list of approved sticky substances you can use. And if we test something for it and it's not one of those approved, then you're 10 days suspended. They should have either given an approved list of things because we all know that it's kind of dangerous to not have that at this point now, especially considering how many pitchers have been using it, or to waited till the end of the season to make this change.
What about you, Pam? Are you pretty much in line on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It definitely should have been something where like they gave like a deadline, like Megan said, like at the All-Star break, or starting after this season, we're going to start to crack down, and like she said, just like have a list and kind of go off of that. But I definitely think they could have been a little bit more, I don't want to say prepared, but like a little more on the ball about it. Pun intended.
As far as kind of like my thoughts on it, I guess I am a little bit more sympathetic with the cause of like putting the rules in place when they did, because they were getting hammered at one point by the national media. Why aren't you doing anything about this? Let's do something about this. Sticky stuff, spin rates, Garrett Cole, this, that, other. So I kind of understand the urgency just to do a rule right out the gate. And it's hard for me to say what kind of impact that had on someone like a Tyler Glasnow. When I first read those comments, I kind of like shrugged my shoulders at it and just said, come on, you're using a cheating substance, a foreign substance. But the sympathy was not quite there. But I do understand the immediate adjustment to it and why that could have caused issues for some pitchers. And then there is some gray area with it as well when we're talking about stuff like rosin and sweat. Obviously, there was a demonstration by one Trevor Bauer, who, again, we will get to here soon. There was a live demonstration by Pedro Martinez on MLB Network, too, regarding kind of like the impact of rosin and sweat, and even kind of like that. And I do think it was an optics issue as well when you have pitchers so brazenly disrobing as they were getting checked. Obviously, that was quite a situation there. Do you think the pitchers overreacted a little bit with those ones as well?
Yeah, just
I definitely think so. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Max, he's put together a nice career at this point. So to insinuate some use of foreign substances on his behalf is, a little bit of I can understand where that would get under his skin a little bit. Sergio Romo, that slider's been spinning like that for years. So but I think for the most part, when you insinuate, when you create a rule in place at any point, there's not a great way to do it. And it's funny just to see how the kind of like, at first we start off, MLB needs to do something. Then they did something and still people are mad. So at this point, I just assume people are just going to be mad at anything that happens in a baseball season. So.
Well, yeah. And here's
that sounds right.
Like, how are they going to prevent the whole sunscreen thing? It's a day game. It's 90 degrees out. Sun's blaring.
Let them burn.
Like, at that point, I'm going to put sunscreen on. I'll be sticky. And same thing with pine tar. If shake their teammate's hand or something, like, there's no way to prevent the fact that they could potentially get pine tar on their hands. Plus, if the batters are allowed to use pine tar to help with their tools and help them with their ultimate goal, why wouldn't there be a way for them to, at least with the rosin bag and sweat, like, there needs to at least be one approved, or at least a list of approved things that they can use if pine tar is approved for batters to use. It has to be playing field on that part.
Now that is true. I have seen some hitters also come out and say, well, hey, like I'm allowed to use pine tar. So I do understand some pitchers. Who was it a few weeks ago? I want to say maybe Pete Alonso that even said, hey, these guys are all throwing 100 miles per hour. If they have something that helps them grip the ball a little bit better, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Plus, here's the other thing with the National League. So are those pitchers who have to bat for themselves, are they not allowed to use pine tar now?
Mm,
Another batting gloves, and I know a lot of them don't know how to hit, except for Dan Cameron. But we could talk about that one later. But like the guys who have to bat for themselves now, are they not allowed to use pine tar? Because that's a sticky substance that they can use to help them grip the ball at that point, especially if they just struck out to get the last out and now have to go out and pitch.
That is a good point. But don't know if there's a right situation. I mean, the way I look at it too, from a certain aspect, is pitchers, batters, players in general always are looking for an advantage. Going back to the steroid era, going back to taking amphetamines prior to games, such in the Hank Aaron era, the 60s and 70s, early days weightlifting with Babe Ruth. Every time, there's a new advancement or new opportunity for someone to get ahead, as we've seen with the Houston Astros a few years ago, players are going to take advantage. It's a cat and mouse game. And if it's up to someone to set like a fine rule, like something that is very black and white in order to prevent further issues. Speaking of like issues that kind of border on black and white, areas of gray here. So in the last couple of weeks, and I'm actually really glad to have y'all on to discuss this situation. So Trevor Bauer, obviously NL Cy Young winner, big addition for the Dodgers this year, a big part of their rotation. He has been on an administrative leave regarding a sexual encounter that borders on what is that fine line with consent, in particular when it comes to some particular kinks that were mentioned in some text exchanges here. What are your guys' thoughts on the Trevor Bauer situation? Do you think that the Dodgers have handled it right to this point? Let whoever wants to take this one up first.
Megan?
Hold on. I have a lot of I wouldn't say mixed emotions, but when I read that article, though, I legitimately felt sick. I was at work. Well, I was off, but I was staying to watch the game. And I was like, I need to just sit down in peace to myself. Like, it made me sick because I'm not one to defend Bauer and definitely not defending him, but I would claim that I was a Bauer fan. I was petitioning for him to come to San Diego. I interviewed Luba for Ballpark Vibes during the pandemic. I was basically a fan of the Bauer camp at that point. I have since unfollowed Bauer on social media. It's a lot, especially since it hits a little more closer to home because the fact is the girl is from San Diego. And it's just, I guess the way I could put it is Bauer's not completely at fault. They're both at fault. But the point is, just because you consent in a text message, you can revoke consent at any time. So just because she said yes at first, it doesn't mean in that moment she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's fair. And the fact is, Bauer claims he's this smart man, almighty guy. He should have known better to the point where this is not going to look good, especially if it comes out, especially since he's such a big guy on his brand and wants to basically be this face of baseball media and stuff. I don't think he was expecting to become this face of baseball media. And if he always has his brand in mind, like he says he does with the first ambassador for lids and stuff, again, this should have been a thought in the back of his mind. Maybe I shouldn't go this far because he went way too far. Just because she had consented at first doesn't mean it's okay either. It was a lot. I don't know if you've seen the images since they've came out, but it's not good. And I don't want to speculate or say kind of what's going on within the whole Bauer camp, but the creative director of Momentum has since resigned and does not want to be part of that company anymore. And I don't know what's going on with his PR person, but I know someone who's very close with her, and she was not with Bauer for that 4th of July weekend when she should have been there doing damage control. She was at a minor league baseball game. So I'm wondering if she resigned as well. And I don't know how to really process this whole situation because it's really a lot. And I don't think he has a career in baseball after this season. That's kind of where I'm at on this.
All right, Pam, what about you? Do you think Bauer plays the rest of the season coming off of that?
Definitely not. Megan can kind of attest to this as well. I've never really been a big Bauer fan. Just, I don't know why. I just never really was. And just now all of this coming out, I actually found out about it. Like, I had like gotten a notification. It's like, oh, Trevor Bauer's on administrative leave. I was just like, oh, dang, that sucks. And like Megan and I have been talking about it the last couple days, or like in the last couple days. And then like his administrative leave got extended. I don't think he'll be playing whenever he gets off administrative leave, whenever this, I don't want to say settled, but whenever it's handled. I definitely don't think he's got anything the rest of this year, and anything after this year is going to be tricky for him to kind of reel back in and do that damage control and kind of fix his presence and his, I know the word I'm thinking of, but I can't articulate it, but like his
Image?
Yeah, that's
the
it.
image. The image in your head. It's fine.
Is the image. Yeah, it's definitely, he's definitely going to have to work some damage control on his personal image and his professional image as well.
It really is a shame, because actually, even despite him being a Dodger, I was a big fan of Trevor Bauer, and kind of disassociating art from artists here is can be like definitely one of those tough things that I think a lot of baseball fans or Trevor Bauer fans are going to have to cope with. Obviously, the Dodgers signed him to a multi-year deal. He was the highest paid player in baseball going into this. And Meg said that she doesn't think he has a career in baseball after the season. I think that is a little bit more of a stretch. I do think that we will see Trevor Bauer back on a mound in the MLB at some point, given that we have seen players in not necessarily just MLB, but other leagues that have come back off worse situations that didn't even have this fine line of consent on them. Obviously, we've seen like, who was it from the Astros a couple of years ago? Was it Urania, or someone help me out here, that had obviously a horrible domestic violence situation and was pitching on a World Series team. Whereas this, obviously, there is a text message thread, there is a sacking counter, there is a lot of stuff here that makes this not just like as easy to say as like, and I think we all are in pretty much uniform agreement here. Guy hits a girl, guy's a piece of shit, walk him away. That's kind of like always been what most people have been raised on. But with the added text exchanges, added stuff going on here, it's kind of like, it kind of makes you kind of like cringe at the situation, like both ways, whether you're on Trevor Bauer side of the fence, whether you're on the girl side of the fence. I don't think that anyone's just can just teeter totter in the middle on this too much too, because of you do have images like Meg was pointing out there. Anytime you see images, like when we look at something like the Ray Rice situation a few years ago in the NFL, it does make the situation 10 times worse to have a film history to review. I think he will pitch again. I don't think he will pitch again this season. I think it'd just be a hard thing for the Dodgers to be able to explain to their fans, or even kind of like move past post All-Star break. I think this situation, they have to at least let it play out in the courts first and see what happens there. But yeah, I think that's kind of like where we are at this. We'll still let for details come out. Anything we say at this point, I guess, is again just speculation. We'll see. But let's move on to, I guess, a little bit more sunnier topics. Obviously, we're got the All-Star break coming up. We have the Home Run Derby, which is my favorite event in any sport, any major league sport, as far as like All-Star break activity. Way better than the slam dunk contest. Way better than any of the bullshit they got going on at the Pro Bowl. Shohei Ohtani's in it, and the guy has been, if I'm not watching a Giants game, I'm usually watching Shohei Ohtani highlights. Right now, the betting odds are as stands. Shohei is the favorite at plus 380. Right behind him, you have Joey Gallo at plus 475. Then we go down to Pete Alonso plus 550. Matt Olson of the A's at plus 650. Then we also got Salvador Perez, the catcher out of the Royals. He's at plus 650. And then at the rear, tied for 7th, 8th spot finishes Juan Soto plus 800, and Trevor Story, the hometown kid at plus 800. Oh, I forgot about Trey Mancini too. Also another great story there at plus 850. Going into the home run derby, who is your favorite?
But also, again, I'm a big Gallo girl, so Joey Gallo.
Gallo girl. I wonder if that should be like a fan club. I wonder if someone could get that shirt going there.
The Gallo girls. It'll be a Home Sweet Ballpark exclusive.
Throwing out there. We got some merchandising. You know, that's
both wearing Home Sweet Ballpark shirts right now, and we did not plan this.
Oh, really? Okay. I see you guys getting the brand out there. All right, it's fine. That's why we're bringing you on, though. We want to give everyone more exposure. So go ahead and check out Ballpark Vibes. Get yourself a Home Sweet Ballpark shirt. Use promo code Slump. Get 20% off. No? Yes? Maybe?
10%.
10%. Okay, we're negotiating live on the pod here.
10%.
10%. 10%. Can we get shipping on there? That's where it gets gray area there. Shipping, yeah, shipping is where it adds up. Anyway, home run derby, guys.
Yes, I want to say yes. Ohtani is going to dominate, but also I would not be mad if Gallo won it. Yeah, that's where I'm at on that. You know, future Padre outfielder Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I definitely am on board of the Shohei Ohtani boat. I feel like every day I'm getting some notification from MLB or ESPN, just like, oh, it's Shohei Ohtani, whether it's pitching or like hitting home runs. I'm just like, this kid is, I shouldn't say kid, I don't know how old he is, but like he's like a star. Like a lot of people have been comparing him to Babe Ruth, and I like 100% agree. Like he is like our generation's Babe Ruth, just hitting and pitching, just absolutely incredible. Yeah,
you mentioned, can you call him a kid? That's one of those tough debates whenever you start realizing you're older than the players. Yeah. Should I get a Ohtani jersey? Should I wear a jersey of a kid who's older than me or younger than me? Yeah. Hard debate there. But as far as favorites go, you know, this one was kind of like reviewing some like home run footage of like each of the guys who are competing here. And I feel as though I might actually go for a little bit of an underdog pick when it comes to this. I'm actually targeting Juan Soto as a potential dark horse pick here. And it was just kind of like was evaluating each guy's home run style. Ever since they changed to the time clock format, which, by the way, I think was one of the best changes they could have potentially made. The home run derby over the last 5 years or 6 years since they started doing the time clock has been way more enjoyable than the previous format they had. I like line drive hitters and guys who can hit the ball off balance. And I feel as though Juan Soto has a lot of that. The guys who hit the moon shots, unfortunately, they lose seconds on the clock, and that kind of adds up over time. So at plus 800, Juan Soto, that's kind of catching my eye there. So is it your favorite or who you're predicting when you say Joey Gallo there, Meg?
I'd say my favorite is Gallo. Not be mad if he won, but I am saying Ohtani.
Okay, so 2 for Ohtani, and then me just being the weird one with Juan Soto just out of nowhere here. Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. Well, some of the great stories too coming out of it. Obviously, I just want to touch on Trey Mancini competing is a really cool thing. Obviously, cancer last year, was going through chemotherapy, and here he is in the home run derby. So I would not be mad if he won either. I think that would be another great story for the MLB to see someone you think about like great home run derby moments. Josh Hamilton coming back off all the troubles that he had with drug abuse and everything, coming out and having that electric home run derby, which I'm still mad that he didn't win when you actually review the tape there. Greatest all-star event in sports, the home run derby, but can't have an all-star break without the all-star game itself. At this current time, the NL has lost 7 straight games. They are actually, though, the betting line favorite at minus 120 versus the AL at minus 110. So close one, according to the Vegas books right there. The starting lineups as presented. So in the AL, you had Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, a Toronto Blue Jays filled right side of the starting lineup when you also have Marcus Semien also there. Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers at short and third from the Boston Red Sox. Mike Trout, who of course will be an injury replacement in the outfield. Aaron Judge out in New York, and Teoscar Hernandez, the third Blue Jay as well. And then making again more history at DH, Shohei Ohtani, who is voted in by the fans at DH, and also a listed pitcher on this team's roster. Would love if he started off the game. In the NL, we have Buster Posey, who will be an injury replacement, unfortunately, as JT Realmuto will fill his spot. Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves at first. Adam Frazier at second. Again, trade candidate potentially. Fernando Tatis, representing the Padres there, will be at shortstop. Third baseman, Nolan Arenado, in a New Jersey for the first time here, representing the Cardinals well. Ronald Acuna, unfortunately, who just suffered a torn ACL as of a couple days ago. Rest up, Ronald. We hope to see you again. You're one of the most exciting, fun players in the MLB today. And it sucks that we're going to have to wait till next year to see you. Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker representing the Cincinnati Reds well. And yeah, so far to this point, we have yet to have the official starting pitchers listed. But who are you picking to win the All-Star game?
Team National League. We're going to break the streak.
I feel as though we're all biased on this one because obviously we all have an NL club here.
Absolutely. Especially since I have a 5 guys All-Star game this year. So, I mean, I'm happy at that. Team NL.
I think I have to go against Megan and say Team AL. I am very much a National League person. I mean, growing up in Chicago, I mean, we've got both teams in Chicago, but just growing up as a Cubs fan and just always being National League in the last few years, I've sort of opened my scope a little bit and I've been watching, more teams. So I'm kind of more open now. But the AL, the way their lineup looks, it looks like the AL has a good chance.
I mean, obviously the NL too, losing Acuna in the last couple days, losing Posey, they've lost a little bit of the punch in their starting lineup. And then just, I don't know what it is, but betting against history, because yes, the NL has lost 7 straight games going currently, but they've also had in just the last 20 years, I remember before that, they had an ugly stretch as well. So for whatever reason, the AL just always seems to have that right edge when it comes to the All-Star game. So I think I will have to go with the underdog here as well. I'd love to say the NL wins, especially since I got a couple of our guys on there, but it doesn't seem like history would be in their favor to do such. Now, let me get a quick opinion on this, though. I am in the minority here that I actually enjoyed the All-Star game better when it had World Series implications. Is anyone in my camp here?
Yes.
Maybe I'm not in the minority,
100%.
just untalked about. I just think it's something that unique that they had over other sports in the sense that the All-Stars voted in by the fans, the players, and the coaches all had an opportunity to impact the World Series in a meaningful way and play in a meaningful way. So I think Bud Selig was in the right when he made that rule. And I would love if it got reinstated. I doubt it will because large public sentiment said otherwise. Yeah, that was one of my favorite rules in sports, actually, low-key, high-key.
I can't believe they got rid of that. Literally, it made the All-Star game even more meaningful of an ultimate goal. And they everyone had to come together for their team to have home field advantage if they were to be good enough to make it to the World Series.
Mm-hmm. I blame Adam Wainwright.
Yeah.
Always blame it on the Cardinals. That's just my life motto. Just blame it on the Cardinals.
Yeah, but like I remember it was the 2014 game where he actually publicly stated that he gave a gopher ball to Derek Jeter in that game as his final send-off farewell tour. So that was, I think, kind of one of those things, which is odd because, again, it impacted home field and all this. But I kind of understand the camp that was like, okay, well, it's for the fans. It's not supposed to be it's supposed to be an exhibition. But I don't know, seeing players actually play the game the right way and not just like, the NBA where it's just like, let's just throw up 150 points. No one play defense, or the Pro Bowl where you don't see many Sean Taylors just blowing up guys out there. It's more a two-hand touch game. No, I like to see my players playing with a little edge. 2 for the AL, 1 for the NL.
For the NL.
2 for the NL. Who was else?
You
No, I mean, I would love to see the NL win, but I think I'm actually going to go with the AL just because history suggests that they should win this game as well, unfortunately.
Here's the reason, well, of how electric NL West has been. You do have that factor in it. So
you do have 3 of the best teams battling it out there, and obviously a lot of the players there. Unfortunately, when it comes to that, you go through the players respectively. Buster, for the Giants, for example, Buster Posey's out of this game. Brandon Crawford's going to be in this game. Kevin Gossman will pitch on Sunday and not be eligible for this game. So the Giants are out. The Padres, Darvish just got scratched. You did get Manny Machado back in there. Fernando Tatis, while exciting, is just one part of the lineup there.
Jake Cronenworth.
Yeah, okay, so you got a couple pieces there. And then the Dodgers, who all do the Dodgers have? I know Mookie Betts, I think, was just scratched from their team, the team as well. Yeah, you're losing a lot of punch, unfortunately, on the NL side of things.
Fair enough.
All right, well, let's talk some more Shohei Ohtani. Again, we've been just loving what he's been doing this season. Is he the MVP in the AL this year?
Absolutely. Especially with the headline almost night. Absolutely. No question on that.
33 home runs, broke Hideki Matsui's record, lit up Yankee Stadium a couple weeks ago, and that was awesome to see. And he currently has a 3.49 ERA on top of it. And if it wasn't actually, I guess he lit up Yankee Stadium, also got lit up at Yankee Stadium, 2/3 of an inning and kind of allowed 6-7 runs in that game. If it wasn't for that game, he would have a shiny 2-point-something ERA. What about in the NL then? Let's talk about this. Is Jacob Degrom going to be a MVP in that as well as a Cy Young Award winner? Because he is at this point, I know that there was one crazy statistic that he had knocked in more runs than had allowed runs at a certain point in the year. Jacob Degrom, is he a low-key NL MVP favorite?
He is one of my MVP favorites, I would say. Just what he's doing is almost historical. I mean, he finally went over 1, but he's been sub 1 pretty much all season. And they keep checking for sticky substances and nothing. And the fact that he's just been doing what he's doing and pretty much clean, it's crazy. I actually have tuned into a couple of Mets games just to watch him pitch. I mean, he's my favorite for NL MVP.
Yeah, you don't need really a crazy spin rate when you're consistently throwing in triple digits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think DeGrom is part of the NL MVP chatter. I haven't really heard anything about other players, but DeGrom for sure is definitely up there.
I feel like it's been a down year as far as some of these NL MVP favorites. So everyone kind of seems to be on some level. There hasn't been a lot of standouts. So when you have a guy who's putting up a season like DeGrom is at, like you mentioned, Meg, he just crossed the 1 mark. He's finally allowing over a run per outing. That is just something that you have not seen a pitcher do. I always respected DeGrom and always knew he was good, but to see how good he is truly, that is truly blowing my mind. What are some maybe headlines that we maybe have missed the boat on today?
Can we go Padres?
Can we go Padres? Fine. If you must gloat, Meg.
I have a list of moments from this season. Let me pull them up. This is Jesse Agler, our radio broadcaster's list of special moments 2021. So starting off with April 9th, we have Musgrove's no-hitter. The hometown kid does it. First franchise no-hitter over at Globe Life Park, or Globe Life Field, which I feel the Padres now own after having slammed Diego the year before, which I missed that game because I went to the game the next night because I was working. And then we have Tatis's 2 home runs on Tatis Sr.'s slammiversary at Dodger Stadium. And then we have Dodger comeback on Saturday Night Baseball. So, that was a really good one. This is all just April so far, where Padres literally tied it up. And that was a wild game that pretty much the whole country tuned into. We have Padres lose a bunch of their starters to COVID when they go to Denver, and then we start our 10-1 streak from May 11th to May 22nd. We have Sweep Diego, where we swept the Dodgers, May 14th through the 23rd. We have 4 straight extra inning games capped by Tatis's home run and 12-inning win in Houston, which I was there for one of those. And then the crazy 9th inning versus Reds capped by Carantini walk-off home run on June 17th. And most recently, the Camarena game from 3 days ago, which a lot of people don't know who Daniel Camarena is. He is a relief pitcher who had just went out for his second outing, got called up that morning, and our bullpen got exhausted because Nats were beating us 8-0 at that point. Hometown kid from San Diego as well, and comes in, has to bat for himself since we have no one else in the bullpen, and hits a grand slam. A slam Diego with his whole family in attendance. And again, another hometown kid does it. First grand slam by a relief pitcher since 1958.
Okay, so what you're saying is you have the most exciting third place team in Major League Baseball.
Sure. I'll let that go because we are in third place, but we are also 4 games behind, so it isn't that much of a gap.
Yeah, third place, but in, again, the best division in baseball. That's why I'm going to let Pam answer this one as the unbiased party here. Pam, who's winning the NL West?
Oh, anyone but the Dodgers or the Padres, not just because I'm friends with Megan, but also they have been a very exciting team to watch.
So the Diamondbacks, gotcha.
I don't know. I do have a soft spot in my heart for the Giants only because of Tommy La Stella, but he's currently on the 60-day injured list. So
maybe hurt for now,
great.
But doesn't hurt our chances. We're going all the way, baby. Going odd even years. That's the new generation.
I was going to
say
it's not an even year though, so I don't know about the Giants making it in.
Well, I mean new decade, new results.
New decade. Yeah. And Kepler, especially with how much flack he got and where he's led you guys to, I would say I'm actually not mad because the thing is, it's always anyone but the Dodgers, and I've always had a soft spot for the Giants as well. I really hope I don't get this as a Padres fan. So I wouldn't mind if the Giants won as long as we piggyback off each other first and second. So Padres just need to go past the Dodgers, and either one of us can win, and I'd be happy with it. As long as we both just make it to playoffs, I'm cool. Deal on that one?
Yeah, it's fine. As long anyone but the Dodgers. Okay, yes. Dodgers finished third. That would be the best end result for this season. Of course, that also means that more than likely we do have that first round wild card, which will be 2 NL West teams as well at this current point in time. That should be exciting. It's kind of a shame, though, that they can't line it up to where if one of the teams finishes the best record in baseball, they would get the wild card, and we could have potentially NLCS of NL West teams as the best division. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's in the cards this coming year.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It would be fun to hold over Dodgers fans, though. Full season, and this is the result. Would you have a 60-game season? That's cute.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, okay. Well, I mean, let's see. So the last time I had you on, we discussed your favorite baseball movies, right? Did we ask that question?
I think so, because mine's always League.
Remind me. Let's refresh that.
A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. Great movie there. No crying baseball.
I think I said either League of Their Own or Field of Dreams. Also Rookie of the Year because like Wrigley Field is classic, but every baseball movie is my favorite baseball movie.
I will say this here on today's pod as well. Baseball movies are the best sports movies, and you can't find me on that one. Absolutely. All right. Yeah. What are we plugging today? Like we already got the Ballpark Vibes shirts here. What else needs to be noted here today? What projects are in line?
So Pam and I have, I wouldn't say neglected Ballpark Vibes blog as a whole together. We have been keeping up the Instagram stories at least and sharing stuff, indie, minor league, and major league. But I'm actually moving back home mid-August to go back to school. So I feel like once kind of indie ball slows down for Pam a little bit more and I'm back home, we'll be refreshing the blog. So hope for some more off-season content there. So yeah, so Ballpark Vibes we're hoping to make a return with. going forward, it's probably going to be mostly me and Pam anyways, with a few guest writers here and there, just because a lot of our original team has gone on to do other things like schooling or just hasn't had time as well. So this was mine and Pam's baby to begin with, and we're going to truck through with the two of us. So there's that. And then Home Sweet Ballpark, my brand. I've just been trying to still work on that while I'm here in Texas. So I will be having an off-season collection coming out, I want to say kind of around postseason time. And then that's about it for news there. And yeah, Pam, you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, it's been pretty crazy for me over the summer, kind of taking on a new role at the Dogs and being fully invested in that pretty much day in and day out. And it's just been a lot of fun. And we, like Meg said, we've been trying to keep up with Ballpark Vibes. The keeping up with the website's been a little bit harder just because we are both so busy. And, like Megan said, some of our girls have all like moved on. They're doing other things. We're very happy for them, of course. So it's been a lot of Megan and I usually have a little bit more free time than Megan does. So a lot of stuff that's going up on like the Twitter or on our Instagram stories is like me sharing stuff. Unfortunately, it has been a lot of dog stuff recently, but that's just because the Dogs have been doing so well. We're the first team in the league to reach 30 wins. We're sitting pretty in first place in our division and within the league. Our team has been just absolutely hot. And if I had to pick a team to watch in the league, it would be the Dogs. And that's not because I'm biased. It's just they're so electric. They're so fun. The players, you can tell that they get along. They're like a family, and just the energy they have on the field is a lot of fun. So I definitely suggest and recommend people tune in to our games. And if they're in the Chicago area, come out to a game. It's a lot of fun.
They had Pam.
How would someone tune into those games by chance if you're not in the Chicago area? Are they like on YouTube, national TV?
Yeah,
what do we got?
We stream like the video feed on the American Association's site. You do have to have a subscription for it, which is kind of the downside for it. But all of our games, you can listen to the audio for free on the Mixler app. And I do that every night. And when I listen, I'm texting our broadcaster funny things and just like response to what he says on the radio.
All right. Well, that's part of the struggle. Sometimes to be an independent creator, to go on your entrepreneurial journey, it does take up a lot of time. And, motivation is just something that you kind of have to keep up and keep going. I know we had a little bit of a hiatus too at the Slumpbuster. Life happens, but I have a feeling that both of you will be back on your feet running this blog and providing great baseball content. And it starts here. That's why I was happy to have you guys on at Ballpark Vibes. Go ahead, check them out. But since you're already listening, you might as well be subscribed to at Slumpbuster Podcast, at Slumpbuster Podcast on IG, at Slumpbuster Pod on Twitter. Go ahead and use our promo code SLUMP. Come on, don't be a chump. Use promo code SLUMP at cavemancoffeeco.com to get yourself some delicious cold brew coffee, some hibiscus teas, got it in the background right here. Refreshing, gets you through the morning, gets you through a podcast. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. And we'll see you on the next one.